Be sure to check out my Patreon for weekly exclusive interviews, extra content on Veve and Ecomi, and building generational wealth, as well as money management tips from experienced whales. Yo, what is going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we are back with another Veve and Ecomi video. In this one, we're going to be talking about something very serious that needs to be touched on a lot more, because I think a lot of people are against learning or against admitting what they don't know, or admitting when they get something wrong, or they make a mistake, or they're just simply not educated enough. I mean, when I first came to this community, I knew for a fact I wasn't educated enough. When I first came into crypto, I knew it. And that's what made me pursue all the knowledge that I did. That's what made me do all the digging, all the research. That's how I've become the channel that you all see today, where I am looking at everything people say. I'm looking at every piece of news, every piece of information, because I know how valuable information has been to me. So what we're going to be covering is some of my biggest L's and some of the biggest mistakes and some of the things that I couldn't see at a certain point in time, and basically how investing in the Ecomi token, it was a big mistake. It was definitely a big mistake at that point in time, because as you can see, look at the price of the Ecomi token now. Like, look at where we're falling, and who could have predicted this? I feel like there was a lot of people at the beginning who kind of did. You know, it's like there was a lot of people who are traders, who have been in the markets, who have been in the crypto space, and I feel like a lot of us jumped in with just crazy expectations that weren't unrealistic. Now, don't get it twisted. When I say things like this, when I admit that there's things I need to improve on, people often say, oh, $10. Like, I still 100% stand behind my prediction, and that is what I'm holding for. Like, it doesn't, like, what I've researched, the work that I've done, the work that I've put in to understand the space, the world, where things are going, that none of that has changed whatsoever. I've put in that work. So I'm very confident that the whole world can be against me, but I've done my own work and I've come to my own conclusion, and I have never met a soul that's been able to dispute it, ever. Not one single fact that leads me to my conclusion. No one has ever been able to dispute it. With all these whales, traders, everything, no one. So that being said, let's actually get to covering why the biggest mistakes, I guess. So let's jump into it. So I think that I've always been against taking profits, because I wasn't educated enough to be smarter. I feel like I'm learning about taking profits a lot more. I told you all in my last video that I did invest in Luna. I got in at around 50 cents, like around there, 50 to 70 cents, somewhere in that area. It went up to $5. I should have took profit right there, but I didn't. So now it's gone back down. Last time I checked it, it went back down. But that's just a short-term example. Like that's a short-term play. I got in for short-term reasons. Then when I got what I wanted in the short term, I didn't take advantage. That's but also I am told by a very good trader that that's one of the biggest mistakes that every trader makes. That's one of the biggest mistakes that you always kind of want a little more. It's kind of hard to just take that when you like, oh, it could still do this, it could still do that. But that's something that you got to get into, especially with a play like Luna, because that's literally just freaking, that's gambling. Like, that's 100% gambling right now, what's going on with Luna. But then, like, let's talk about some of the biggest, like the Ecomi token mistakes, man. I've been saying from the beginning, I've told you all exactly where the token has the potential to go, and then there's some things that was out of our control. Like, we couldn't know that it was going to take this long for the team to actually deliver upon the things that they said they would deliver upon. The team didn't know, so I don't hold that against them. I don't put strikes against them because of that or anything like that. It's just certain things we couldn't know, we couldn't control, but certain things we can. So at a certain point, it started to become very, very clear and obvious it was a lot of setbacks with the team. They were not ready for everything that they promised, because, and this for a good reason, they got way more users, way more problems. Like, first off, they got way more users than they expected. And then they had way more bots and stuff. People are trying to exploit the system than they could have ever expected. Because if you don't expect this many users, you don't expect to have to defend against these type of attacks this early on in your company's lifespan. As a startup, you're not expecting to be fighting off like bots and stuff at the level that they're fighting these things off at. So, like I said, I don't blame them for stuff like that. But it does get to a point where I should have been sharper. I should have been, you know, like I'm like, okay, this company grew like this. They're taking on bots at this level. It's like, it's certain things that you should have been able to see. Like, they're not going to be able to manage this Ecomi token that quick. Then a bear market is coming. If I was more educated on the crypto space as a whole, I would have understood where the bear market is going, why it's going there, what's going to be the catalyst of the overall crypto space, and the fact that because Ecomi token has none of the catalyst that's going to make it resist the bear market, Omi token is definitely going to be hit by the bear market this time around. Once it's established, once all the things come into play that I was talking about in the past, I 100% still believe the token is going to be bear market proof, or at the very least bear market resistant. But yeah, like at this current point in time, nothing is implemented. Not a single catalyst is actually implemented. So it's like, yeah, this is going to closely follow Bitcoin this time around. It is a certain point where that should have been acknowledged earlier, and I should have started making decisions based around that fact. So that's what I'm saying. And then with Veve, let's go into Veve a little bit, man. The times that we invested in Veve, it's like we invested at the top of a hype cycle. Everybody's talking about NFTs. It's all over the news. It's everywhere. Elon Musk is pumping up Dogecoin. It's all types of stuff going on. The whole world thinks this is everything's going to the moon. We were all being greedy when everybody was bullish, and you're supposed to be greedy when everybody was fearful. We were supposed to start putting in money down here in everything. We're like, this is like, but I think that if we like, because I have experience investing, but I've gained way more experience since being a part of Veve, and this is when we start to we're going through things, we're learning things this time so we don't make these same mistakes in the future. But also you do have to be able to understand that technology is changing, the world is changing. So you need to be able to acknowledge that some things that has never happened before can potentially happen in the future, but you should still prepare yourself based on history. So I think that now I'm becoming a lot more educated. I'm starting to balance out my perspective as opposed to, oh, I'm just holding forever and never doing anything, like, and starting to be able to feel confident in my ability to see what the market is doing, understand the sentiment, understand how the sentiment actually impacts the price of things, because I saw this before, but I missed it. You know, like I saw the sentiment shift once everybody didn't know what was going on with, everybody, like the price dropped when everybody didn't know what was going on with buybacks. The price dropped when everybody didn't know what was going on with the founder tokens. The price drops based on people's, like, the community sentiment. So we're seeing all these things, but like still, like you have to be able to see these things, digest that information, and realize when the same thing is happening over and over again, because the same thing does happen over and over again in the market. So let's talk about some Veve some Veve losses. I got the secret rare Spider-Man. Like you all know that. Since I can see that piece going to $1 million, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to hold till it hits where I think it's going to go. Like I 100% believe in Veve. I believe that piece can go to $1 million plus. But just because something has the potential to go to $1 million does not mean it's going to go there in one shot. Like when it comes down to the Omi token, like I'm more logical when it comes to the Omi token, right? Because it's like I understand that, or I believe that it can get to $10. I have my reasoning for believing this, but I've always known that it's not. I didn't think it was going to be $1 first year, $2 next year, $3. Like I never believed that. I understand that it's going to be ups. Once we hit $1, a lot of sale orders is going to come in. A lot of people are going to take profits at 20 cents. We're going to have a lot of resistance, a lot of people selling throughout this. So it's going to be a lot of turbulence going through this stuff. Honestly, going through these different levels and price points. It's going to be a lot of turbulence. But I don't know why I expected the Veve. So I know this about the crypto. I don't know why I expected the collectibles to do something different. It's like, but that's just, I've told you, I was never a collector. I was never an NFT guy. So that's just one of those lessons that you have to learn. This is one of those things that you have to understand. And yeah, this is one of those mistakes that you have to make, you know? But next time I'm going to be prepared. Because if I would have sold my secret rare Spider-Man, it was worth $100,000. If I would have sold my secret rare Spider-Man, I could have literally bought like 4 of them. I could have bought 4 of them with what the price of it went down to. Or I could have bought 3 of them, and then I still could have did some more shopping for some other grails just off that one piece. And then look at Todd. I think Todd went up to like 10,000 or something around there, and I bought it for like 8,000. I could have sold as soon as it went up there, then held until it got down here. You know, like there's like, it's easy to look back and see what you could have done differently. But the one thing that I do want to stress is don't have regrets. Don't see this as a bad thing. Yeah, we could have made better decisions, but that doesn't mean the decisions that we made are bad. It just means that we have an opportunity to learn from these decisions this time, because now we're prepared for next time when we start seeing the signs again. Just how people were not buying the grails, were not buying the Winnie the Poohs and stuff like, well, are not buying the Winnie the Poohs. They aren't buying the Disney golden moments. The Walt statue is going down right now. Like this would have been the time to like have that 100K just sitting there. I should have sold at the top. and had that, like I would have had, like at that point in time, I would have had over 200K sitting there. Sold at the top, then right now, you realize if I would have sold at the top with that, with just that 200K, we down here at the bottom and could potentially still go lower, you realize that by the time the next bull run got here, I would have definitely been a millionaire. I would have definitely been a millionaire. Because at these prices, like I could have literally secured five Disney golden moments. I could have secured like a couple of secret rare Spider-Mans. I could have probably secured some comic books grails and stuff like that. And then I could have went crazy on the comic commons and stuff like that, because I do believe in the common. I'm a huge believer in the commons. So I could have just loaded up on a bunch of commons, common comic books. So when you really think about the different decisions that you could have made and the better decisions that could have potentially been made, it's important to do that. I know some people want to steer clear of that because it's like, when I think about the L's I took like that, but no, you have to soak in that. You have to acknowledge that and be willing to say, okay, yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, I fucked up. So next time around, you're like, oh, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. So that way you kind of understand that, you know, you start to see the signs next time. Like, you got to acknowledge your flaws. Like, don't pretend like you're perfect. Don't pretend like everything is okay. Like, regardless of how I talk in my videos, because I do get a lot of right calls, I do predict a lot. Like a lot of the stuff I see coming, I'm my toughest critic. Like, that's the reason that it's easy for me to combat anyone else who comes after me, because I criticize myself way more than anyone else ever could. I challenge my own thoughts, my own ideas way more than anyone else could. So when someone comes up with a baked theory or some type of baked, just thrown together excuse for something, I've gone over that scenario 30 times already. You're not going to be the one to actually break it, because I attack my own thoughts more than you ever could. So you coming up with one argument, it's nothing to me. So that's what you have to do. You have to be very, very critical of yourself. You have to be very critical of the way that you approach the market, the way that you approach your knowledge and your education. Because yeah, it's a meme in the community, but like I always say, education is everything. You're only as smart as you take the time to make yourself. The information is free online on Google. Like, you have all types of things being offered. Like, I tried to reach out to whales. I try to reach out to very accomplished people in the community, get them on the Patreon. Like, there's paid services, there's free services. Like, the thing is, everything, like, you don't need to use any paid service ever, to be fair. Like, you really don't. But the fact of the matter is, you have people like me who is studying at all times, who's learning things constantly, who's constantly improving and knowing the information that people need to know. And you have people like me going out and pursuing that information, so you don't have to do a bunch of Googling. You don't have to spend a bunch of hours. All you can do is just click on something, get to listening, and there you go. You're all set, because I've done the heavy lifting for you. You don't have to go and try to filter through the thousands and millions of fake stuff and you know, like, stuff that may not be valuable. Like, we get straight to the point, we get straight to the value. So yeah, there are services that offer things like that, because there's a lot of clutter on the internet. But at the same time, like, so you can choose convenience, or you can choose like to take the hard path. But either way, you should be educating yourself, constantly learning, constantly challenging your own thoughts and opinions. And one thing that you have to do, in my opinion, is steer clear of toxic people. Like, I mean pure toxicity. Like, I mean people who are always, oh, this is the end of this project, this is the end of that. Like, I don't believe in that, man. Like, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in people saying, oh, this is the end. Like, if you're crying, it's probably just something that you don't understand. Like, that's my perspective. I believe that there's something that you just don't understand, and you could understand it better. Could it really be the end? Yeah. But I mean, it could also not be the end. So those people saying that it's the end, if it actually ends, you've been saying it's the end since the beginning. So if it ends, of course you're going to say, yeah, I was right. But if it doesn't, like, you know how many people were saying that Amazon was going to end? This was the end for Amazon. Amazon went from like 100, like during the .com bubble, Amazon went from $100 plus to like $6. You don't think that people said that was the end? You don't think that people said, but look at Amazon now. It's like, you just really have to, you have to stay sharp, stay polished, and stay putting in that work and effort. But there we have it, though. The prices dropped down to 13. Okay, we get into some levels. We get into some levels where some plays might have to be made. But nah, not no time soon. Not no time soon. We're waiting for Bitcoin to actually stabilize. Like, that's what we're doing. We're waiting for Bitcoin to stabilize. But yeah, and by the way, obviously, nothing that I say is financial advice. I don't give financial advice or anything like that. I just tell you all what I'm going through. I tell you all my experiences and my mistakes and what I'm doing to grow personally. That's exactly why I have my second channel. I have my second channel so I can grow, so I can learn, and so I can take those interested in actually doing that type of work with me. Like, I can take you all with me. Like, it's really that simple, man. The price is fluctuating a lot. We have people buying, we have people selling. But yeah, I mean, and this is just how markets work. This is how it goes. But the price is going to continue to go low, and this is what I mean by having education. Because I've become a lot more educated. Regardless of how much money I have, I wouldn't be buying at these levels because I understand that things are going to, like, there's no reason for the price of the OMI token to go up. So people are buying right now like, oh, this is the price. But this is just what I believe. This is like what, maybe it's wrong. Maybe. But I mean, so far, historically, you know, my man Jay has not been wrong. He's not been wrong. The technical analysis and charts have not been wrong so far. And there's no reason for the technical analysis and charts to be wrong when it comes down to the OMI token. Mainly because we have no catalyst. We have nothing that would make it differ from the technical analysis charts. Nothing. There's nothing. So yeah, that being said, let me know y'all thoughts in the comment section down below, how you all feel. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out, y'all.